Vladimir 1-0 and Tony is 1-1. This is set to be a phenomenal first fight of the evening. I can't wait for it. Let's throw it up to our ring announcer, James Jefferson. James.
In our first bout of the evening here at GPG 22 Legends and Rising Stars, we have a couple great rising stars right here. 3 rounds of 5-minute fighting at 130 pounds with referee Vincent Dudley. In your blue corner, Tony Gravely, Tech Top Team, West Virginia, 1-1. And in your red corner, Vladimir Kazbekov, Team K-Dojo Warrior, and Team Ascension, with a 1-1 coming off of a great submission.
Both fighters are about to meet center cage right now. We have Vladimir Kazbekov taking on Tony Gravely. Let's get this bout started. Jackson.
Fighters coming out touching gloves, and Gravely is not one to be pushed around. He's taking the center of the cage and starts off with a big right. I'm loving the energy from both these guys tonight. I would love to see this go 3 rounds, but these guys are just little spark plugs. I think we're going to see some big damage early on.
And ironically enough, we have Vladimir in the red corner wearing the red trunks, Gravely in the blue corner wearing the blue trunks.
Beautiful takedown from Gravely right off the punches of Vladimir, but immediately into the diamond position and just narrowly escapes a triangle attempt. Vladimir's got some good jiu-jitsu here, doing a good job of getting his back to the cage, but Tony seems to know his way around the cage, using it to his advantage, keeping Vladimir's back on the mat. That's the important key here, keeping the back on the mat.
And Vladimir's working from the bottom, but I gotta say Tony Gravely is very top-heavy, looking for that mount, looking for the ground and pound, looking like.
It's tough to get from mount to mount from the half guard by just stepping over the thigh, but if you're strong and you have enough pressure, it can be done. Not a good position right now for Kazbekov on his back.
Gravely landed in a solid right hand, left hand. See how Kazbekov can respond to that.
I'm really liking the technique here displayed by Gravely with this ground and pound, because striking from inside the guard seems to be this lost art where people are maybe a little bit too afraid of getting stuck in submissions. But Gravely's doing an excellent job of keeping his posture, maintaining a very strong base, and delivering some punishing blows from the top.
Very reminiscent to the Randy Couture, Mark Coleman's, if you will.
Yeah, that's Hammer House or whatever style of ground and pound. They're really pioneers of that style. Tito Ortiz then taking it to the next level. But Tony Gravely here, very impressive with his ability to keep such a decorated wrestler in Kazbekov on his back.
Kazbekov is constantly working, trying to look for the submissions, but Gravely is very intelligent in defending. But just as I say that,
so Gravely here is being threatened with what we call an inverted triangle. It can be used to finish as a choke, but what it also does is isolate that left arm of Gravely for Kimuras and other arm locks. So he's got to be really careful about letting his hand dangle out there.
Yeah, this isn't a common position like you were saying, Jackson. I'm very intrigued to see how Gravely responds to this.
Well, it looks, oh, big slam from Tony Gravely. They don't teach that in jiu-jitsu class, but that is very effective. He's got to be careful. He needs to address the triangle choke here and not just work to struggle. I mean, in some ways, he's making it worse for himself, just tiring himself out. That is a very difficult position to defend. He needs to work on the ankles that are crossed.
And the slam always looks good, but sometimes some people can slam further into the choke here. Gravely was able to get out of it at this point, but the slam usually looks good. Not always in your best interest, but Gravely being on top and side control at this point.
The crowd loves it. I like it. I'm not complaining.
Not at all. See what Gravely can do, having Kazbekov against the cage. North-south position at this point, raining down, ground and pound. now in guard.
Gravely's doing a really good job. You know, a lot of times you get wrestlers in here and they try to wrestle their way through the jiu-jitsu positions, but he's very savvy as to the intricacies of these positions here, knowing how to posture up and how to keep himself safe from the various submission attempts that Kazbekov is throwing from north-south and the guard position. So very impressive display of ground and pound. 1 minute left in the round. All Tony Gravely, round one, unless we see something big from the Russian Kazbekov.
Gravely's not using his wrestling just to stay on top of his opponent. He is very, very active on top. Kazbekov is constantly searching, but Gravely is not having one bit of it with the heavy ground and pound with just 40 seconds left. Fighters back to their feet. Let's see what Kazbekov can do with just 30 seconds left in the opening stanza.
Looks like Gravely's going to be content to keep it pressed against the cage and sort of grind this round out, getting into round two ahead on the scorecards.
15 seconds left in the opening round. Like you said, Jackson, it's been all Tony Gravely thus far.
You know, I expected big things from Kazbekov, and I think he got surprised with that double leg takedown and wasn't able to sort of find his rhythm in that first round. Beautiful display of grappling there from Tony Gravely. I'm very impressed with this young man, but round two is another chance to turn it all around, so we'll see what happens.
All right, Jackson, let's check out a replay real quick.
Okay, here we see that beautiful double leg shot from Tony Gravely, ducking right under that cross. This was the story of round one. Big takedown, big ground and pound, and a huge slam to score to cinch the round for the judges. You know, I imagine in Kazbekov's corner, his coach is telling him, take your time with your striking, use your footwork, do not stand directly in front of Tony. He is very predictable, does not make it easy, but it's very predictable. He's going to look for that takedown and look to repeat round one all over again.
Yeah, Kazbekov's looking to make some changes in this round, and Gravely seemingly looking to do a lot of the same thing. If it's not broke, don't fix it. Fighters touch gloves, start the second round. Slight feeling out process from both.
Again, Kazbekov using that lateral movement and footwork to sort of stay a moving target, not let Tony get locked onto those hips for the takedown. Beautiful right hand, but you know, you can tell a wrestler is a very high-level wrestler is that when they get tagged, they go directly into like wrestling zombie mode, just right into that
changing position.
Immediately just going for the takedown, and a beautiful shot there. I cannot speak enough to how high of a caliber wrestler Kazbekov is. So with Tony Gravely making this look so easy, it speaks volumes about the skills he has in that department.
Absolutely, Tony Gravely on top right now in the blue trunks. Kazbekov again on the bottom in the red trunks.
Kazbekov, you'll notice he's using, when he had the full guard, using that high guard, that's a very offensive position, but, you know, if I were his coach, you can't be on your back against a guy like Tony Gravely. He knows what he's doing. He knows how to exploit the position and punish you for it. Kazbekov needs to really put some nitrous boosting into his grappling right now and just get back onto his feet and try again.
Tony Gravely not having one bit of that with the hammer fist to the side. Looking to posture up with some ground and pound. Kazbekov looked to get up, but Tony Gravely was not having one bit of that.
And again, Vladimir, he's doing the textbook work from the guard. He's overhooking the arm, wrist control, setting up the triangle, setting up the arm bar, but Tony Gravely just a step ahead of him, shutting down the attacks before they even come and doing a great job of maintaining posture. This is what allows him to deliver strikes with good hip torsion and power.
Kazbekov was looking to throw his left leg up, but Gravely holding his ankle, preventing that. Very intelligent, staying in his guard with his ground and pound on top, Tony Gravely.
You'll notice that Kazbekov also doing a really good job of creating angles on the ground, just similar to the way you'd want to create angles on the feet to sort of exploit openings. Kazbekov switching his hips, creating angles on the ground, but Tony is following and staying square and really shutting that down as well. It's a very beautiful display of defensive grappling.
Kazbekov looking for the Kimura right now.
That hand comes out. Gravely's going to be swept over. Beautiful here. We'll see if this ends up in Kazbekov's favor, but just not.
It was a tough scramble.
Not technical, not strong enough, not enough oomph to stay on top. Tony Gravely seems to be just a spark plug here on the ground.
Most people might be shocked to hear this, Jackson, but when we were talking to Tony in the back, he says he's only been training a year and a half.
Wow. That is very impressive. He must have come from some sort of extreme wrestling background, wrestling all his life as well. Yeah. He's very, very comfortable in these positions.
Very top-heavy is Tony Gravely. Not leaving much room for Kazbekov to improve his position. Smothering him is Tony Gravely.
You know, a lot of wrestlers come into the mixed martial arts game with a very dominant grappling style, but it's very boring. Yeah. Tony Gravely here, very dominant, but very exciting as well. Yeah. I really appreciate the sudden transitions and the finesse he has on the ground, setting up huge elbows and shots. This is some beautiful ground and pounding here.
It wasn't full mount, now getting the back.
So he's got locked in for the tap.
And he gets it. The rear naked choke. Tony Gravely in the second round, ladies and gentlemen. Impressive. A year and a half training improves his record to 2-1. Tony Gravely.
Wow. Bright future for this young man in the GPG cage and beyond. Just an all-around force to be reckoned with at this weight.
Kazbekov was he was in the fight and he was scrambling from the bottom, but Tony Gravely, impressive. Jackson, let's check out a replay of that finish.
Well, here you see, Tony Gravely doing his thing on the top, setting up the rear naked choke. He gets him out. Vladimir gives up his back and just textbook rear naked choke for the finish. You couldn't plan it out to be better than that. That was textbook, perfect rear naked choke finish.
Fighters in center cage right now. Let's get our official results from James Jefferson. James?
Ladies and gentlemen, what a great fight. Tough to be a fan. At 4 minutes and 20 seconds of the second round by submission, rear naked choke, out of the blue corner, Tony Gravely.
All right, Tony Gravely, beautiful display of wrestling. Worked it into some grappling, finished it off. Tell us how you feel. It's always great to finish with a rear naked choke. I know it's most fighters' favorite move. Tell us how you feel about that beautiful submission victory.
It feels great. I've come off the last couple matches. They went all the rounds, and finally got me a finish as a pro, so it feels great.
Well, we talked about it before. You came off your first loss as a pro. You're a terrific prospect. Did you learn anything coming into this fight after that your last fight where you lost?
Yeah. I actually got finished in a rear naked choke, so I'm turning around and got one for myself.
Well, congratulations getting back in the win column. We look forward to seeing you return. That's Tony Gravely, ladies and gentlemen.